Yeah, as Jan said, my name is Rob Newson. I am the country manager for the UK and Ireland for XPS, and we did a project in the summertime with Basketball Ireland, which I will present today, what we did and how we did it, and then we'll go into the process, what it's all about, and then some questions. All right, so first of all, we're going to talk about what we tried to do, the goal of this project, and the what, when, and the how. So as many of you may know, but for those of you who are not so familiar, the national teams of Europe play in a basketball tournament called Eurobasket in the summertime every year. And so the goal of our project was for all of the underage national teams of Ireland, that's under 16s, under 18s, and under 20s, boys and girls, men's and women's. Our goal was to tag all of the Ireland games in the tournament in a timely fashion, so that coaches could receive the tags of and the clips of their games, so that they could review previous games and prepare for the next ones. And for anybody who's not familiar, the constraints of this tournament are such that you are usually playing between 6 and 8 games in between 8 and 9 days. Depending on how you do in the tournament, there is a group phase, then there is a knockout phase and classifications. But the difficulty here for coaches is that you will play on Tuesday, then you will play on Wednesday, then you'll play on Thursday. Maybe you will have a day off on Friday whilst you figure out who your next opponent is. Then you will play Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So the games are one after the other every single day. Sometimes even the teams are playing at night and then the next lunchtime, something like that. So what we tried to do was tag the games for the Ireland national teams in a quick way so that they could receive them with the tags that they needed to review the game they've just played and prepare for the next one, whether that was only the coaching staff or for the players as well, in a quick way. Okay, so it wasn't about lots and lots and lots of detail, but it was about effective tags that the coaches could use, that they could sort out and go through, and that they could have them in a speedy way, in a quick way. And so our goal with the national teams was to have a maximum time of 3 hours after the game has finished to get them their tags. One of the reasons why it was 3 hours was because the way that we tagged this, the how for this was most of the time we were tagging the game live or very close after the game had started via YouTube. All of the FIBA Eurobasket games were streamed live on YouTube. So we would tag using quick tags on the YouTube link. And then when the game ended, we had to wait for FIBA to finish the upload to YouTube so that we could get the raw file and put that onto XPS documents, so that if the coaches needed the raw file, which often they did, they could have it from XPS. Most of the time in Eurobasket, again, the FIBA video that goes to the coach's hands doesn't arrive until much, much later because there are so many games going on. So it was quite important that the coaches got an uploaded file, which we did via XPS documents, and then their tags, which, as I said, came maximum of 3 hours after the game. All right, so we're live tagging, or we're tagging as close to live as possible, depending on the time of the game. And then we are syncing the tags with the XPS Video Analyzer and uploading the video to XPS documents, and then letting the coaches know that they have their tags. And the final point here is that for the most part, the coaches during the tournament wanted to see makes, misses, and turnovers for both teams, and in some cases, depending on the phase of the game. So for basketball, this is like in open play, 5-on-5, half court, or in fast break, or an out of bounds situation. So these were the main areas that we focused on. Here you are looking at, on the right-hand side, this is our video analyzer for Ireland, and you can see the formula on the right inside the video analyzer. It shows you the things that we tagged for this project. And then on the left here, you are seeing our quick tags panel that was designed and customized so that it could be easy for anybody that was tagging to make sure that we had quick tags and that they could do it and that we wouldn't miss possessions. One thing you might notice here is that there is not a lot of detail in terms of actions and things like that. I'm going to talk a little bit about that as we go. But the key thing here was that the coaches needed the tags right away, as soon after the game as possible. And oh, sorry, something just popped up on my screen. Yeah, so the key here was that we have an ability to tag all of the possessions, and then the coaches on the Eurobasket side, in the tournament side, have the ability to sort through these possessions and decide what they want. Because you are talking about 16s, 18s, 20s, men's and women's, you're talking about 6 different basketball coaches with 6 different staffs, and we needed a repeatable process. So we couldn't customize everything to exactly what every coach might want in any given tournament or any given age group. So we needed to make sure that we had something which could repeat over and over again and could give all of the coaches what they needed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a short video here, which is going to run through the first few minutes of a game, and it will show you kind of how the process was for all of the games. Okay, so just give me a shout, Jan, if this isn't playing. I'm going to turn the sound off because we don't need that for this video, but here we go. So on the right on the phone, we are creating the quick tags panel for this game. You have to select your panel, give the game a name, select the panel there, and then the first most important thing to do is to make sure that you can sync the tags to the video analyzer. So you need to make sure that you know the timestamp of the game when it begins, and you press play on your quick tags. Okay, now you will see us tagging the game. So essentially what we did is we used a start stop quick tags panel, which means that every possession is going to be a different length. We want to be able to start when the possession begins, and we want to be able to stop when the possession ends, and we want to capture all the possessions. At the end of the day, I want to get my island tags and I want my opponent's tags. So you'll see as the game is going on, depending on the different phases of the game, we are tagging who is in possession of the ball, and that is the way that we started our tags. See that one there? I tag opponent, it starts the possession. These guys are in open play 5-on-5. And then most of the time, if it's a little bit of a longer possession like this, we can tap result, which takes us to a secondary attribute, and then wait for the end of the possession. It might be a make, it might be a miss, it might be a turnover, live ball, dead ball. It might be a kept possession, as in this case, or fouled in the act of shooting. Those were the ones that we used for result. So here we go. Opponent starts the timestamp. You could see in the top right-hand corner of the mobile app. Was sideline out of bounds, and then we've got a result here of a missed shot. And because the ball goes out of bounds, we can finish that event now. And now I'm not going to go into the next event. You can see in the bottom right-hand corner, I could tap create event to start, but what we were usually doing was tapping the team that was in possession of the ball to start the event. Then we would indicate what was the phase of the game. There is full court pressure here, and you will see on the next tag panel when we go back that we can indicate if there was full court pressure. And then we're looking for a result of the play. In this case here, a missed shot. Okay, this is a second chance, and then they had a turnover, dead ball turnover, and then we can finish that one right there. So you'll see a timestamp top right-hand corner. Okay, so there's a couple more here to go through just to give you a flavor of how it goes. So we're tapping opponent to start the timer. You can see the timestamp top right-hand corner. In this case, we indicated full court pressure, but then it actually wasn't a full court press, so we took that off, and that is something that you can edit right on the tag panel. And then we're looking for the result again. And again, the reason for this, I would say lack of a lot of detail here is because the basketball game is changing so quickly, the possessions are changing so quickly that we needed a quick panel that we could tag all of the possessions and not miss big chunks. Okay, and so very simple. Who's in possession? What's the phase of the game? Is there any zone defense or full court pressure? If there's no zone defense or full court pressure, then we don't need to tag it for man-to-man, because we know that if the zone or full court wasn't indicated, then it would be a man-to-man half-court defense. All right, and then there you can see the result of the play. I think there is one or two more to come. Ireland in possession. This was a fast break, which then we took off because it did not result in a fast break finish, and then a missed shot. You have a pause function in quick tags, which we didn't use very much at all. Again, we don't want to be missing possessions. And so using the pause function to add in more detail is something that I'll talk about a little bit later. But we tried to ensure, again, that we were able to tag every single possession, that the taggers were able to do it quickly, that we didn't miss anything, and then it was easy to sort out so that the coaches could have this at the end of the game when they got back to the hotels. All right, last one. There we go. Okay. Jan, are there any questions right now?
Yes, we have a question from Marcus. He's asking when it's possible to select a player for an action. I have a partial response for that. This is going to be added in the next update, that you can tag specific players. But for now, you can add it as an option, I believe.
Yeah, I was trying to. I have not found a way to do this yet nicely. I think you could create your own quick tags panel, which either you are indicating on the panel the names of your players, where each time an action, each time a result happens, let's say it's a shot or a turnover or something like that, you could have a panel which has your 12 or 15 players as names on the tag panels, and then use it that way. I think the limitation there is the ease of which you do it in terms of tagging, but I think it's something to play with. I haven't managed to find a way to do that yet. So at the moment, athletes are not indicated in the way that they are in Sideline Video Analyzer. And so you would have to create a panel which had your athletes' names on it in some way, and then experiment with the tag panels that work for that. Okay. All right. So continuing with the project, I'm now in the video analyzer, and the game navigator here, you can see that we had the folders for the particular age groups, and then the games, in this case, under 16s. Now, the request from the coaches was to have turnovers and shots for both teams. And so what we did is once we synced the tags and we indicated which teams were in possession of the ball and these kind of things, that we created 4 subsets. Okay, these subsets were turnovers for each of the teams and shots for each of the teams. Some of our teams requested that they have this in makes and misses as well. But if I go into this subset of Ireland shots in this game, can I open this just a little bit? So you can see these are all the shots for this particular game for Ireland only. When the coaches receive this, I mean, it's so easy to sort out. Do you want to see all of the made twos? Okay, well, here they are, and then we could go to the analyzer, and you guys know how to do this, right? I could watch the clips or see the last few seconds of the clip. So this is why, for the most part, we did not sort these out any further, because from a coaching standpoint, I can sort out any time that my team was pressed, we can see those clips. Anytime that we were in sideline out of bounds or baseline out of bounds, we could see those ones. And makes and misses, they could find them very, very easily. So the delivery to the coaches was very simple. We're going to give you an event list that has the turnovers and the shots for each team, and and then they could go into those subsets and select the clips that they wanted to see, and and then they could either pull them out, they could create their own videos, they could take them to the presenter and draw on them, things like that. All right. Okay. So for our Ireland presentation, this is essentially it, right? We tag the games, we deliver. What? One thing I will show you actually that I did not in XPS document collection. We have essentially the same structure that we had for the video analyzer. So if I go to my under 16s, girls, where are they? Yeah, Turkey, here we go. So what we delivered in terms of video files, we also, as I showed you, we created subsets for those sets of clips, turnovers, and shots. But also, straight after the game, as soon as was possible, we uploaded the game to XPS documents. So any coach could go here and download this full game so that they could link it to their own analyzer if they needed to. We also added the online location to the game in any case that they didn't want to do that or they couldn't do that. And then we created clips here of the same subsets that we created in the video analyzer. So for some coaches, they don't want to spend a lot of time in the analyzer. They don't want to sort through clips. As I said, sometimes teams are playing at night, 8 p.m., and then they're turning around and playing 11 a.m., 12 p.m. the next day. So some coaches just wanted to have the videos. And so for that, we just put them into the document collection as well as merged clips. So each of those categories was created as a file, and then the coaches could watch these directly from XPS document collection, or they could right click and download all these videos and again use them in a meeting or put them into the presenter. All right.
Rob, could you maybe show how you connect the online video once you have them in documents, just in case somebody doesn't know how to do that?
Sure. Let's take this Austria game. Okay, so in the XPS Video Analyzer, I open the analyzer. The first tab here is called the Game Navigator, where your list of games will be. You will use the plus button to create a game. This one is already created here, Ireland versus Austria. And I will go to view properties here where the properties of the game are. And so once you have your teams and a date on the game, then the local file location, which most people will know, you just link that to a file on your laptop. But here is the online location. So once we had an XPS document with the video file, we would link it to there, and we just find it in the document collection. So we had a document for the full game where we would link that and press OK. And so if coaches did not have the file on their laptop, then they could access it like that. And it's very much the same, just to be able to watch the game, watch the clips, download the clips, and sort them out like that. All right. So now what I will show is a kind of an improvement on this project that we were discussing afterwards. We're going to watch a few more minutes of a different game, and we're going to use a different tag panel. This is the same tag panel, by the way, but with some additions. So one of the things that many coaches want to be able to understand is the effectiveness of actions and maybe even plays, tactical stuff in the analyzer. And as I mentioned before, with quick tags, the name is called quick tags. It isn't detailed tags. So it's important that when you're watching the game, that the game has to be able to flow so you can tag whilst it's happening. And if there are too many windows, too many secondary attributes to go into, then you're going to miss a lot of things in the game of basketball. But we tried to think about, okay, the next time that we do this project, what do we want to make sure that we have? And one of those first things is actions. Okay, and so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the same tag panel, but it has these additional actions here: ball screen, post up, dribble handoff, away screen, and then a button for multiple actions. This is obviously not exhaustive. It's an example. Okay, I actually have 2 spare panels here that I could create more things for. But again, these are true false buttons. So I'm just tapping the button if it happens or not. And what this will allow me to do is later, when I'm sorting through the clips, is I could cross-reference, ball screens in possessions versus baskets made, for example. Okay, so I have 4 actions here. If there are any more than one of these actions happening in any possession, I tagged the first action, and then I just tagged multiple actions. Okay, so very similar. There are some additions here, right? because you are limited to 15 tag panels at the moment in XPS Quick Tags. So one thing we did here is I took away opponent as a button for who's in possession of the ball. All right. And so if we tag island, then we know that later when we sync the tags to the team, we can tag all the island ones. And I'm going to show you this, but if we didn't tag island and we just started the possession either by hitting create event or starting with the phase of play, then we know later that this is the opposing team. So that freed up a tag panel for me. You can see I still have 2 spare. And now all I'm doing here is we've got the team in possession of the ball, the phase of the game, and then actions that happen in the possession, which as we will look at in a little while, you can see like if I want to go through all the ball screen clips, you know, and maybe reference, did we make a basket or did we miss a basket, or I just want to watch them, then I have the ability to do that. Okay, and this is what I was kind of talking about with the athletes. You know, you could essentially have an athlete list here instead of any tags and just hit the athlete when they make a play, and possibly use something like Express to roll back and roll forwards.
Just want to inject one thing here, Rob. So you're right. There is a limit of 15 on the screen for the basic type of tag panels. But if you go to the other ones like you have here, you can actually have as many as you want, but you would just need to scroll. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. So free throw made, free throw missed. This could also be good for statistics. You know, this is something that you could use if you wanted to stat some of the possessions that you are quick tagging. And then we'll just do a couple more here. So here's an open play. There's a post up that we indicated. That led then to some kind of an away screen and a dribble at. So we made multiple actions on that one and then finished the tag. One more thing here that you didn't see that maybe we can look at in a minute is I had a rollback on this one of 2 seconds. That is one of the challenges that we realized a little bit too late, was sometimes because the speed of the possessions, we missed the beginning of possessions and we had to check them. So with the rollback, when I start tagging, it will take it back the start of the clip 2 seconds. And so that gives you a little bit of a buffer when you're tagging, and then you wouldn't necessarily face that issue anymore. Okay. All right, let's take this off. And then we're gonna go to XPS. All right, so now we're gonna be live in here and do a little bit. So I'm gonna be in the analysis formulas area of the video analyzer. So the first thing you would need to do here in order to execute this is create a formula. All right, so we create a new formula. We would then add attributes, and I'll add a couple here just to give you an example. So the first one we had was island, and this was true or false. Okay, so this is simply a tick box. Did it happen or did it not happen? And we only hit it in quick tags if it did happen. Okay. And then some of the other ones are open play 5-on-5. And you saw some of the other ones, fast break and sideline out bounds and this kind of thing. These are all true and false. The tree attributes that we had were the result of the play. Okay, so in here you have several options and tree is one of them. And so we had made 2, missed 2, made 3, and I will not do all of them, but you can see here we had those different options. All right, so in the quick tags, this was a secondary attribute after I tap on result in the start and stop. Okay, so I begin to create a formula here, and it's a simple task of creating the tag that you want to use in quick tags, and then what is the nature of the attribute. So for the one that we just saw here, we had a number of true, false, and then a couple of trees. All right, zone defense was the explanation here is that we took away man-to-man defense as a tag here because unless they were in zone, we know they're in man-to-man. So anytime I tag zone and I have one of my secondary options, then everything else is man-to-man. All right. Then once you've done that, you need to select the tag panel. So in this case, this new one that I've made. So this is Rob's new formula. And I tap quick tags and I add, and we must decide what is this type of formula. And you have a little button here to explain the different ones. So as I said earlier, start, stop is the one that we were going with because the duration of possessions was always changing. And we need to be able to start and stop whenever possessions begin. I think with the athlete one, it maybe expresses the way to go, where you can have a roll back and a roll forwards. And so anytime an athlete scores, misses, has a turnover, makes a foul, something like that, you could tag the athlete and what they did, and it would create a fixed time stamp for the play. Okay, so now I'm in my quick tags window. I select start, stop. I give it a name, Rob's quick tags formula. And then you have your panels here, which you can move if you want. So I might move this one to the right. They're color coded, I think, in the beginning, but you can also change them. So we were changing these based off of things like what is the nature of the tag in terms of basketball, not the attribute itself. So maybe I would put that there. And so I have Island as a green one, and then this one I might change and say is yellow, and then result red, that's fine. And then here is a button for attribute values. So all those values that I created for result, I can go in here and see what they are. And this is how it would appear when you're tagging. So again, I would suggest that you move these around and change the colors so that it becomes easy for anybody that's tagging to kind of understand visually what these are for. All right, so makes and misses, green and red, is nice color coordination. All right, so now I have a tag panel which I could use, right? So who's in possession of the ball? Maybe we would have another one as well for opponent if you felt more comfortable, and then the other tags that we had. As I said, we decided on a rollback in the end of 2 seconds for every possession, just so that we could make sure we didn't miss anything, because we found that we were. And then, so now I'm going to answer that question that we had earlier, and it will take me a minute to get there, but let's answer it. Okay, so now you download XPS Quick Tags and log in to the account that you're going to use, and we'll create a new game, give the game a name, a date, and then decide which window you're going to use. So maybe I'm going to use my new formula, Rob's QuickTime formula, and continue. Now I'm ready to tag the game. You would then put the video up, or you're watching the practice live. And so now we're going to arrive at this place of syncing the tags. It's important to remember the timestamp of the video you're watching, or the exactly what happened when you started. So in basketball, this might be the tip off, when the referee throws the ball into the air. Okay, then you would tag. Okay, and now I'm going to get rid of this. So for the GB game, we're going to open XPS Analyzer. I'm going to give this, put the teams in. GB. Okay, and then I'm going to link the video, which is somewhere. Okay, and okay, so next step then, once you have a game, is you're going to tap quick tags. All right, and because I've tagged the game already, then it's going to be added. I'm going to add the events to this game, and I should have, okay, there's any tags that you've created that you haven't imported yet will arrive in a list here. And then I was testing this earlier, so I already imported it, but here it is. Here's the test. Here's the tags that I made for the game on the video I showed you a few minutes ago. So I'm going to add those in, and then I view the game. All right, so now I have tags on the left and also a start time for the video and a stop time. Okay, so when I press play on my quick tags panel, when the referee throws the ball into the air, that is the start of the game. And then when I'm finished tagging, then that's when we stop. Press stop on the app. All right, so I find the time of the beginning of the game. Okay, which is coming up now. Okay, so when I find the exact time, which for me was 10:50, right here. 10:50, so 48, 49, and 50. I pause it. I choose tag number 1, okay, which you can see this is not a tag, right? This is start of the period. So this is where I go to sync video at 10:50, which would then move all of the subsequent tags, which then should sync them to what they're supposed to be. All right. The other thing that we were doing in our project was setting the team in possession of the ball. Okay, and the way that I would do that is the first tag, which in this case is Ireland, the next one during the tournament was opponent. I would sort all the tags out for the ones that are ticked for Ireland, tap on the arrow next to one of those tags and make one of the bulk operations, which is set team. So now I choose under 16, Ireland, and I do want to do that. And then I choose all the other ones which do not have a selection in this case. And I do the same for GB. So later we can sort out all the possessions for GB and all the ones for Ireland. Okay. And then, you know, what we would probably do at this point is check a couple of these possessions. So this looks pretty good.
Thanks, Rob, and I hope this answers Eric's question regarding the syncing. I just wanted to add that let's say you have more than one period. You have to make a sync at the start of each period. So you're looking for those tags, the start of period tags. Mm-hmm. And you because let's say you go to halftime, you might have to sync that as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would have a number of start of period tags to sync up. Yeah.
Depending on the video, obviously. So of course, if the video is running all the time through all of the pauses and halftime pause and everything, then you wouldn't. But usually, or sometimes the video, those pauses are cut out from the video, and if that's the case, you would have to sync at the start of the periods too. Yeah.
One of the so for us, we were always trying to tag live or as close to live as possible. Just anybody that is interested in doing something similar and with national teams, if you try to tag on a YouTube video and the game has finished, we found once or twice that if we waited too long, that then there would become adverts on the YouTube video, and then that would affect the tags because there would be some delay in the YouTube video as opposed to the downloaded video. So you just, with all these things, you have to make sure that if you're stopping it, you have to make sure you know when you're restarting it. Otherwise, you try to watch the whole game, whether live or in person, without stopping. So I hope that explained the project, how it was. It was very successful. We were able to get tags to coaches usually within 3 hours. Like I said, the bottleneck was only downloading the video so that the coaches could have access to that. And it's exactly what it says on the tin. It was quick tags. We got the tags to the coaches. They could sort through them. They could decide what they wanted, what they didn't want. In some cases where coaches only wanted to have the videos of those series of events like makes, misses, and turnovers, we just uploaded to XPS documents. So everything stayed in XPS. Everything was very, very smooth. And we even had some coaches ask for other tags like late shot clock and early shot clock shots, which we added for a couple of tournaments, and then some scouting ones as well, which we only did for one group. But you know, the tags are versatile in that sense. And for all of you, if there are no other questions right now, I would say thank you, everybody. Thanks, Ian, for organizing.